Welcome back to the Real Games Cast, guys. And we're going to move over to Tristan Shuler's topic. Shuler, what are we talking about today from you?
Alright, so as we all know, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are really big. I think PlayStation 4 sold over 18.5 million units last year.
Yeah.
Something like that.
They sold one or two consoles, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, just one or two?
Yeah.
So that one and the one I have in my room.
I think that's the only two they sold.
And what about mine?
Oh, well,
Oh,
three.
yeah, so
Sorry.
three, yeah.
I
I'm
think
just
they're
kind of...
mixing PlayStation 4 with Xbox One. Anyways.
God, we're funny here. I'll tell you what.
There's been a plethora of games.
It's a comedy cast.
Don't stop recording. Let me get to my topic. Okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay. So, I mean, all these games coming out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, right? I haven't seen an original game for last gen, PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, besides Assassin's Creed Rogue. So what is the future of gaming for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360? I'm keeping my PlayStation 3 just because in case I ever get some nostalgia and want to go back and play a game on it. So I don't feel like paying for that PlayStation Now, which I think is ridiculous. I keep it. But
I have PlayStation Now.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. But the problem with PlayStation Now is it's only got like maybe 100 games.
Yeah,
right?
compared to, I don't know.
I'm paying $20 a month for that.
Anyway, so I basically just keep it for nostalgia purposes.
Right.
If I ever want to go back and play a game, and the games that are coming out are all like Dying Light was supposed to be on PS3 and Xbox 360, but they said that the technological aspects of the game,
The limitations, they're just too limited.
They
Right.
couldn't. So is this what the future is now? We basically don't have any games coming for PS3.
Well, I
and
mean,
Xbox 360?
Sony and Microsoft said they're going to continue to support the consoles for at least 5 years. I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 5 years that they plan on continuing to support the consoles. Now, given that we're already in year 3 of what those 5 years would be, 2013 they supported it. 2014 they supported it.
Yeah.
We're in 2015. Now, Rogue, that was exclusive. South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Borderlands, the pre-sequel.
Yeah, that's a big one. Borderlands was, but that's coming to PlayStation.
Which I also think it being exclusive on last gen also hindered itself.
It did, absolutely. I can't think of any logical reason why that game was only on PS3 and Xbox 360. It makes no sense. They knew it was hurt, unless they just knew then we're gonna port this a year later.
Not even a year later. It's coming out next month.
Oh well. I can't understand why South Park hasn't been ported, but we'll talk about that later in the show. But back to what you were talking about, I don't think there's much of a future there in exclusives on those consoles. I don't understand why anyone would develop anything and only put it on PS3 or 360, unless it's like a family-centered game maybe, where the install base is bigger. But even then, you're going to put those on the next-gen consoles. Or at least common sense says so.
And then the problem is if then we get to that point where they're saying they're supporting last gen, but then we've got games that come out for new gen and next gen, like the Call of Duty, Ghost, and Advanced Warfare. They come out for both, and really they play the same. I mean, of course, the new gen runs faster and has better graphics, but really they're the same experience. I mean, so are we going to be stuck with games for both generations? But you can't really tell the difference between a new gen and next gen.
When you develop the games for both consoles, you hinder the development of the next gen versions.
Well, Square Enix isn't even developing Rise of the Tomb Raider on Xbox 360.
Oh, really?
They're giving it to a whole other developer.
Okay.
That
would probably be the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
Is to have separate studios develop for each. But I mean,
that would eventually get cost.
Yes.
You're paying two studios to do the same game, just in different technological limitations.
Not only that, but you have, with Rise of the Tomb Raider, that second studio could. Why aren't they working on something else?
Yeah.
Rise of the Tomb Raider is not their game. They should be working on their games, not porting something for someone else. You know, it's a waste of studio talent.
Unless it's like a really, really small company who's trying to make a name for himself.
True.
Yeah.
Ready at Dawn, who's getting ready to release the Order 1886.
Yeah.
They made their impact on PSP porting God of War. That was their first big thing, was porting God of War to the PS3. PSP.
Next week is probably one of the bigger releases of the year.
Yeah, The Order is going to be one of the top 5 biggest releases this year, I think. I think it's going to sell really well. I think it's going to be a better game than people have been saying it's going to be.
There's been a lot of negative reaction towards The Order.
Well, everything that I've read and heard, especially from guys like Colin from IGN, now Kind of Funny, I've been watching his input on the game throughout the development cycle. And when he first played it, he said this game's not very good. And as development has continued, he has came more and more to the point of being like, I'm excited for this game. Now if you listen to him, he seems excited for it. So obviously the game has got better. The delay had to help it.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at my Twitter feed a few months ago, back when the demos first started coming out.
At JordanDean04 on Twitter.
Nice plug. But
I try.
I kept seeing these things from these companies, these like Joystick and Games Radar, and talking about how The Order looks like it's going to underwhelm.
Right.
And then the closer it gets to release, now I scroll down and all I see is like, wow, we're excited for the Order 1886. Why it's going to be great. So obviously they've listened to that feedback they had early.
Yes.
And they've adapted the game.
I mean, the game looks fantastic. I mean, it's a freaking beautiful game.
Yeah.
It really is. There's already been one reviewer that claimed he got the game this early, and that the story is only 5 hours long, and then that got debunked like a week later by somebody else. So there's going to be people that give it negative press for the sake of negative press. Similar to when Polygon gave The Last of Us a 7, and people were like, oh my god, how do you give The Last of Us a 7? But then Polygon got thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hits on their webpage.
Yeah.
So with The Order in particular, I think you're going to see that. You're going to see not developers, but reviewers give that a bad score just for the sake of people going to their website and reading that particular review. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But back to the PS3 and the Xbox 360. I don't really know what the future is for those consoles. I mean, maybe you turn them into indie machines. Maybe exclusive indie games.
Well, the last couple of years of the PS3's lifespan,
it had a bunch of big indie games.
A lot of good indies too.
Yes, Journey.
Yeah.
In particular was a spectacular indie game.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe just turning those into indie machines is the best route. Do you think Ubisoft will continue the trend of coming out with 2 games for Assassin's Creed every year?
Honestly, I hope they don't. I really wish they'd stop their whole year releases anyway. Because as you can see, the original Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed 2 were amazing. But as they've been going on, they keep getting bogged down with the weird story. Because it's fine when it's in the historical period, but as soon as you come to the modern day and all that Eden and apples and...
I'm really glad that they kind of got rid of the modern day storyline after 3. Just kill Desmond in that. I mean, originally I would like to think that they planned on that panning out into a modern day Assassin's Creed game. But now, obviously, that's not in the works.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. So, I'm really glad they just got rid of that aspect of it. I don't see why they keep even including the Animus or Abstergo or anything. Just set me down in that time period. Tell me, here's your assassin, here's your mission, go do it.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, don't connect it to Modern Warfare at all. That's what Assassin's Creed should have been in the first place, honestly.
Yeah.
It should have been an assassin's simulator, not you're a human reliving the memories. And didn't they even say that half the time, like Ezio and Altair weren't even related? So then everybody was like, well, how the heck are they related to Desmond?
Right.
It just got so confusing, and all the end of the world by the sun flare. And I'm just like,
Desmond's story was interesting though to a point. I feel like it kind of got too bogged and watered down about Brotherhood. Brotherhood is where I think Desmond's story started to really take a downturn. I thought it was good in the first one. Desmond's story was a good way for us to learn about the Assassins and the Templars and who Abstergo is and why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
But by Brotherhood, they want you to invest a lot into Desmond, and you don't spend a lot of time with Desmond. Over the course of the game, you spend, maybe an hour playing as Desmond?
Yeah.
An hour and a half? In a 13, 14-hour game? Why would you care that much about Desmond Miles by that point?
I guess in just my opinion, I feel like the actual assassin stories aren't good enough to carry a game by itself without the present day story.
Yeah.
Which was one of the big things I thought hurt Unity. There was that severe
Arnold's
lack
story
of,
was not that special.
Yeah, and there wasn't any. I mean, besides looking for the sage, you didn't really have anything in the present day that that carries that. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm playing through Rogue right now. I picked it up last week, I think, and I feel like Rogue is maybe the best assassin story they've told since Ezio. Yeah, because I didn't care for Connor in Assassin's Creed 3. I liked Edward Kenway in Assassin's Creed 4, but his story was nothing special. But they told some really cool stories with Ezio. Assassin's Creed 2 was a good story. Brotherhood was a very good revenge story. Revelations was a spotty story, but a really good game. The gameplay, I feel like, made up for the spotty storytelling. But they're telling a really fun story in Rogue.
Yeah.
And that's something that the series has been lacking for a few years, is a really interesting past assassin story.
To answer your question though, I think I look for this year to be the last year for the
dual development.
Yeah. I could see them, releasing the Victorian London both
Victory.
on
Assassin's Creed Victory.
Yeah.
On both consoles.
The name was escaping me on both consoles. Yeah. But I don't think we'll see one game on PS4 and Xbox One, and then a whole nother game, whole nother story on Xbox 360 and
PS3.
I just don't think they'll. I mean, Rogue didn't. I mean, I think it hindered the sales, to be honest.
Do you think that Rogue will be the last AAA game to be a big release on PS3 and Xbox 360? Do you think there'll be another big AAA game?
I mean, honestly,
I think Activision will keep making Call of Duty games.
Okay.
On PS3 and Xbox.
Yeah, because there ain't much for PS4 and Xbox One. All they do is update graphics, more frames per second.
Right.
And a lot of, the Call of Duty market is casual gamers. A lot of these casual gamers haven't invested, $500, $400 in a new system.
Do you think Rogue will be the last exclusive to those consoles? The last big one?
Honestly, it just depends. But where everybody's got these PS4s and Xbox Ones now, I mean, people aren't like me. I went to GameStop the other day looking at PS3 games, and there's nothing.
Right.
I mean, because it's
all stuff that you've had
or played before. I mean, so there's no point in buying it anymore. Mm-hmm. And it really makes me a little upset. I guess because this is my first true console transition. Because I had
It's weird. Yeah.
I had a PlayStation 2, but then again, I mean, when I got my PlayStation 3, my dad kind of took it back.
Right.
And let the kids play with it. So I didn't really miss it. This is the first one where I bought my own PlayStation 4, and I mean, I'm seeing the fact that, oh wow, I expected to play my PlayStation 3 all the time still. Mm-hmm. I have like a whole rack of games.
Right.
And now I have the PlayStation 4, and I'm just like,
you don't want to go back to that PS3.
I just don't. It's like I
you
have
just want to.
There's 6 games on PlayStation 4
right.
that I want to play.
I understand what you're saying. You're ready to retire your PS3.
Yes, but I don't want to get rid of it because it's like trying to get rid of a Nintendo 64.
Right.
Which I was so upset when I.
There's always the thought that, man, one day I might want to play Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Or one day I might want to play, I don't know, Uncharted 1. Just, maybe Uncharted 6 is coming out in 10 years, and you're like, I want to play through the first 5. Yeah. But you got to go back to the PS3 to play the first 3.
Well, I for one, regret selling my PS3.
I did too. That's why I went and bought another one.
Yeah. Some of us can't be as rich as you, though.
I sold it with you. Don't judge me. Guys, we're going to wrap up topic 2 for this week's Real Games Cast. We're going to be back with topic 3 in just a moment. Thank you for tuning in to the Real Games Cast.